Ties in an individual track event are not unheard of, even at the Olympic level. Even at the most recent Olympics last summer in Paris, there was a two-way tie for the bronze medal in the women's high jump, resulting in four athletes receiving medals. Another notable tie was the women's 100-meter final at the 2000 Olympics in Sydney, in which the original winner was disqualified. So they decided to upgrade only third and fourth place to silver and bronze, respectively. And for whatever reason, keep the original silver medalist as silver too. So there was no gold awarded for that race. But in the case of the men's pole vault at the 1912 Olympics in Stockholm, they had ties that put not four, not five, but six athletes onto the podium. Today is Friday, July 11th, 2025, and on this day in 1912, the record was set for what remains the most athletes to share a podium in an individual track and field event. I'm your host, Running Up That Hillary, and you are listening to Today in Running History. Okay, so first, before any of y'all can snarkily point out in the comments, I realize that pole vaulting is not a running event. Yes, this podcast is called Today in Running History, but I will occasionally have episodes that center around running adjacent events as well, including jumping, throwing, hand cycling, and wheelchair racing. Pole vaulting holds a very special place in my heart because that was the event that I did in high school, as well as how I met my all-time best friend. Hi, Carly. Funny enough, I picked it up as a way to join the track team in high school without running because I was coming off of the cross-country season and I was just kind of sick of running. But it turned out I was pretty decent and I ended up winning 2 city titles and qualifying for state. And actually, I was a much better pole vaulter than runner, but it's not exactly something you continue to do casually into your 30s. So that is why I am 100% a runner now, and I have not picked up a fiberglass pole since 2009. The sport of pole vaulting started long before I was competing in the mid 2000s. In fact, some sources claim that more than 4,000 years ago, ancient Egyptians would utilize a version of pole vaulting as a way of getting over walls and rivers and moats. Ladders also existed at this point in history, but I guess occasionally flinging themselves up and across things must have sounded more fun and or efficient to the ancient Egyptians. Pole vaulting evolved into a sport practiced by the ancient Celtic people and the ancient Greeks a few millennia after the Egyptians, with a form of the event occurring early on in the original Olympic Games. One of the first records of pole vaulting in modern history was a competition in England in 1843, after which the sport gained traction, first in Europe and then in North America. The poles at this time were made of solid hardwood, such as ash or hickory, and the vaulter would land in a pit of sand. By the first modern Olympics in 1896, poles were being made of bamboo. It was much lighter, but no one had yet thought to put down any sort of cushioning in the landing zone, so they just kept using piles of sand. As of the 1912 Olympics, pole vaulting was a well-established event, and it remains one of only 12 events to have been part of every single Summer Olympics since 1896. These days, individual countries can enter up to 3 qualifying athletes in the event, but at the 1912 Games, the number was 12. So of the 25 men that competed in the pole vault in Stockholm that year, 8 were American and 6 were Swedish. And actually, every single athlete in the games, except for the Americans and a lone Canadian, came from European countries. So the Olympics were not the same sort of internationally inclusive competition that we have today. Anyways, back to 1912. The qualifying round began, and those 25 men started vaulting. If anyone listening is unfamiliar with the sport, pole vaulters get 3 attempts to clear each height and can choose to skip lower heights if they are confident enough in their ability to make it to the higher levels later as the competition progresses. When the qualifying round was over, there was an 11-way tie between the Canadian, 1 German, 1 Swede, and all 8 Americans, clearing the 3.65-meter bar, which is slightly under 12 feet for those of us more familiar with the imperial system. The following day was the final, and I will give you a heads up that this next part might be a little hard to keep straight. All 11 men cleared the opening jump of 3.4 meters. The bar was raised incrementally over several rounds, and one by one, the German and 3 of the Americans were eliminated. When the bar measured 3.8 meters, all but 1 of the remaining 7 vaulters cleared it. Here's where things get weird. When clearing the 3.8-meter bar, Canadian vaulter William Halpenny made it over, but landed wrong in the ridiculously hard sand pit, breaking 2 ribs and forcing him to be carried off in a stretcher. The bar was raised to 3.85 meters, and the Swede with the unfortunate name of Bertil Uggla, plus 1 of the 4 remaining Americans, Frank Murphy, missed all 3 tries. American Harry Babcock ended up being the only man to clear 3.95 meters, just under 13 feet, and so he was awarded the gold. The final 2 Americans, Frank Nelson and Mark Wright, tied at 3.85 meters, and they were awarded the silver. So that's the podium, right? Top 3 get medals. In this case, no. They decided to also award Uggla and Murphy bronze, bringing the podium count to 5. And then they remembered poor William Halpenny from Prince Edward Island, Canada, with his broken bones and crushed dreams. Since he did not get a chance to attempt 3.85 meters, and presumably because they'd already squeezed so many people on that podium, the Olympic Committee decided that one more wouldn't hurt. Halpenny was awarded the 3rd bronze medal and became the 6th man on that historic Olympic podium. These days, if a vaulter was injured during a jump, they would just be done. But at the same time, these days, athletes are given much safer conditions in which to compete. I am happy to report that piles of sand were replaced first by pits of sawdust, then by pits of foam cubes like what you'll see at a gymnastics place or trampoline parks, and then finally by the modern mats of today. Poles, too, have evolved and are today made of fiberglass and carbon fiber. And with these advances in vaulting technology have come new records. Swedish athlete Mondo Duplantis has broken the world record 11 times since 2020, with the most recent being last month in Stockholm. His new record is an astonishing 6.38 meters or 20 feet, 7 inches. What could the unfortunately named Uggla done with a carbon fiber pole and track spikes? What height would Mondo be willing to jump, knowing he had to land in hard-packed sand? And perhaps most intriguing to contemplate, had I, back in 2009, had access to the same equipment as Mondo, could I have also cleared 20.5 feet? The world will never know. That is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, turn on alerts, send to everyone you know, and then join me tomorrow as we head all the way back to 1809 to meet the man who made the Proclaimers song a reality when he walked 1,000 miles in 1,000 successive hours. I'm your host, Running Up That Hillary, and this has been Today in Running History. Ties and an... Oh my god. Okay, my nose is itchy. What is wrong with me? Okay. Actually, I'm a much better... No. God damn it. I'm gonna just restart all of that. I mean, why would this even be true? Why would they fling themselves over things if they had ladders? Okay, whatever. And with the no, god damn it. American Harry Babcock. Oh my god. American Harry I thought I didn't didn't set the background, but I did. So just, I'm stupid and I need to redo all of it. Ties in an individual track.